What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So we had just talked about Sony threatening to sue Dbrand over their Darkplates, which had to be pulled down from their website. Well, now it looks like Dbrand's already firing back with new Darkplates with a couple of interesting changes. We'll go over that here today. Also, we're going to be talking about a new report that's pointing towards a revival for a franchise that I'm very excited about, but also kind of torn over. And we're also going to be talking about Xbox and a new event coming up here that's going to remind us all once again just how old we're getting. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all of the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with Xbox Game Pass to finish out the month of October with some new games heading into the service. We can head over here to xbox.com. Nice little card at the top here, just kind of showing all of the games in one spot. We'll go over when they're going to the service here, starting with games that are already available starting now: Into the Pit, Cloud Console, and PC. Then we have Outriders, that specifically on PC, it was already in the service for Xbox. Moving up to October 21st, we have Dragon Ball FighterZ, Cloud and Console. Echo Generation, that's Cloud, Console, and PC. Everspace 2, that is through Game Preview on PC. Moving up to October 28th, we have the big release of Age of Empires 4 on PC. Then we have Alan Wake's American Nightmare, that's console and PC. Backbone, that's console, that is ID at Xbox. Bassmaster Fishing 2022, that's ID at Xbox, Cloud Console, and PC. And then we have Non-Guns Doppelganger Edition, Cloud Console, and PC, finishing up with The Forgotten City, Cloud Console, and PC. And overall, not a bad way to finish out October with Game Pass. Certainly, there's a bit more of a focus on the PC side of things here with the big release of Age of Empires 4, but Dragon Ball FighterZ getting dropped in is pretty cool. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, that's certainly the first one I would take a look at here. Also, we had a very odd trailer that was released on the Pokemon's official channel. You can see some of it here. It was titled Rare Footage of the Hisui Region Discovered. It appears like they're kind of playing into the idea of lost footage that was found of a person, I guess, just sort of exploring and finding a new Pokemon that's, I guess, specific to this region that we'll be exploring in Pokemon Legends Arceus. And it's an odd thing because this may have been the first time we saw someone die on the Pokemon channel. It ended with a very ominous feel there as the person appeared to be attacked by the Pokemon. It just kind of reminds you, oh yeah, you can be attacked by Pokemon now in Pokemon Legends Arceus. I do like this angle that they're taking here where it is like lost footage that's been found, like point to like Blair Witch Project or like Cloverfield. Sure, I mean, it's supposed to be a mysterious land that you're exploring and documenting as you go along, and I like the idea of maybe more of these popping up, especially as we head towards like Halloween. That makes sense, and hopefully this isn't just a one-off thing because this kind of bring up the speculation around the whole mystery of it. Oh, and if you're still trying to find a PlayStation 5, as I'm sure many of you are heading into the holidays, it does sound like GameStop is going to do another in-store event this Friday. It does appear that they will be doing bundles, however, which for GameStop, I'm sure that makes a lot of sense considering they can just kind of package in a bunch of stuff and charge you $700 or $800. But even so, for what you're getting with a controller, maybe an extra one, a gift card to GameStop, and then to like the PlayStation Store, it's better than just paying that amount outright on eBay for just the console. There's also a large list of participating GameStops in the US, as not all of them will be doing it, but Gaming Intel did put an entire list together so you can go through and search, see if your local GameStop or one within a reasonable distance to your house is participating, so you can make the trip out. I don't know what the lines will be like, but based on what we've seen from other in-store events, I do feel like it's going to be something you'd want to show up to very early. Just check out GameStop's website as well as the list I will leave down below in the sources to see if your local GameStop will be taking part in it. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with this supposed revival of Splinter Cell. Now, Splinter Cell, the last one we had was in 2013, so I guess it hasn't even been technically a full decade since the last one was released. It just feels like Ubisoft completely forgot about Splinter Cell, unless they need another character for their mobile game, or you gotta throw some time DLC in the Ghost Recon. Basically, whenever they need Sam Fisher to help sell a product, they bring him in, unless it's for his own game that they would like to sell. At least until now, that's according to VGC. We can see this over on their website where they say Ubisoft has greenlit what will be its first mainline Splinter Cell game in a decade. That's according to development sources who told us that the title has been put into production as a means of winning back fans frustrated by recent efforts to revive the franchise in the mobile and VR spaces. They say recent efforts to revive the franchise, I say, yeah, they did their best to bury Sam Fisher, realizing fans still would like to have a game with him starring in it, and now they're going to, I guess, try to build it out. And I say, I guess, try because I'm a little torn on Ubisoft attempting to make a Splinter Cell game right now based on all the other games they're creating. I mean, I'm playing Far Cry 6 right now, and I am starting to get that Ubisoft fatigue, because the idea is they give you this massive map with a bunch of points on it, and they all start to feel very much the same. There's a tower you gotta go get, there are checkpoints you gotta go clear out, ambushes, and you do that over and over and over again, tens, hundreds of times even. And I'm a bit concerned that they say, well, Splinter Cell's got to fit that mold, because Yves Guillemot has said that. It's like, people are working on things like Assassin's Creed. They don't necessarily want to make a Splinter Cell right now, because would they be able to give fans what they actually want from a Splinter Cell game, or would we get Watch Dogs that's kind of skinned like a Splinter Cell game? And if I could say anything to Ubisoft, it would be, look, you have plenty of service-based games. Splinter Cell is a series that fans remember very fondly. It dates back to 2002. In fact, next year will be the 20th anniversary, I guess, or 20 years since the original Splinter Cell debuted on the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. And it was such a cool thing to see when it did release, because visually it was stunning, right? At the time on those consoles, some of the lighting effects they were doing, and then they went to Chaos Theory, and that was even more impressive on the original Xbox, specifically with some of the effects they were able to do there. But it's still a franchise people look back on and really like, despite some of the changes they made as they navigated their way to the most recent one, that being Splinter Cell Blacklist in 2013. So I would prefer they do like a semi-linear style game with Splinter Cell, definitely going back to its roots, maybe even do a full reboot. Basically, we don't need a massive map with 18,000 points on it just for the sake of it being a 50-hour game, because you have plenty of those. Let's try something different with Splinter Cell. VGC has mentioned that it's possible Ubisoft could announce it next year. Wouldn't shock me, because like I said, it lines up with the 20th anniversary, and they're very good at announcing games way before they should, like, I don't know, Beyond Good and Evil 2 or Skull and Bones. Remember those games? Yeah. Well, here's hoping that Splinter Cell has a bit of a different development path, and yeah, they are ready to at least show some kind of CGI trailer, I'm sure, next year. It would be a pretty cool way to cap off their Ubisoft Forward at E3 in 2022. Next up, let's talk about Dbrand, Sony, and their Darkplates. Now, the idea was they wanted to produce different side panels for your PlayStation 5, specifically in matte black, and they had some fun with the inside of the popped collar part of the PlayStation 5 with different symbols that they had created custom for those plates. Sony did not appear to like that, and I still believe it's because Sony wants to be able to create special edition PlayStation 5s, or maybe even have third parties come to them specifically to license the ability to create those shells, and that way Sony gets a cut. Well, it looks like Dbrand had a different plan here, as soon as they had announced that they were being potential or threatened to be sued by Sony with a design patent around, I guess, just the overall shape of the shell, they came out 24 hours later and said, hey, here's Darkplates 2.0. And you can see that here. The biggest difference, obviously, is that they appear to have put in like vents on the side of either panel for the fan inside of the PlayStation 5. They also kind of shaved off that popped collar look at the top, the big fins coming out of the front of it, and it gives it an overall, I guess, just shorter look. Looks like it got a haircut, basically. But the vents on the side, from what I've seen online, people are kind of split on this one, if it looks good or not. I mean, it is a pretty basic, I would say, cutout for the fan. Yeah, maybe they could have gotten a bit more stylish with it, and they still can. This is Darkplates 2.0. There could be 3.0 or 4.0. Who knows how far they want to take this thing, but they are currently available for pre-order. They say themselves they are set up now to where they are in the legal clear here. There shouldn't be any issues, and if Sony wants to try, they should be prepared to pay their legal fees, because they have changed it so much that there's really no design patent that Sony can point to. Not like they could before, apparently, until they had filed one after the Darkplates were created. Anyway, the changes are so substantial here, according to Dbrand, that they shouldn't have to worry about that any longer. They currently have them up for pre-order at a discounted price of $69, and they've also talked a bit about like those vinyl light strips that you can put inside over the LEDs. Now, looking at the current design of the Darkplates 2.0, I think they look all right in the pictures. I will get a hold of these just to see how they look in person, and I am curious about the overall temperatures for the PS5 when it comes to having, I guess, just a cutout for the fan. Now, leaving the panels off did help with temperatures inside the system. I tested it myself, so I would only assume that that would help. Not that the PS5 is overheating as it is, but it's just like an extra thing to have, and that was probably needed to differentiate it enough so that Sony really has no legal case or argument here around these plates that'll be attached to the side of their console, the PS5. So, like I said, I'll see if I can get a few of these. It seems like pre-orders are now pushed out into January because people are still pre-ordering these. They are very exciting for people to see different ways to customize their PlayStation 5, as these do come in colors other than just all black. You also have gray, which is sort of like, I guess, the original PlayStation color there, and then just white if you like the two-tone look that you have currently for your PS5. So go check it out on Dbrand and see what you think. Next up, let's talk about Game Pass. Specifically, though, the subscriber count around this service, because we did hear at the beginning of this year, they're around 18 million subscribers, but not much since then. They have talked about kind of vaguely to investors, oh, it's growing well enough, and we're making progress around the service and bringing more people in. And a lot of that's been through some of the third-party acquisitions for the service they have done with games like Outriders. But what about the service itself when it comes to expectations from Microsoft? Clearly, they have an idea as to goals and targets they would like to hit at different points. Well, it looks like their most recent target, they were not able to hit. We can see this over on Twitter. This from Steven at Axios says the Game Pass subscriber news. Game Pass subs grew in 12 months ending June 30th, but below Microsoft's target, 37% up. Target was 48% growth. Don't have raw numbers, of course. We'll see if Microsoft wants to say much about that. I assume they don't want to if they are missing internal numbers and expectations that they have. And I believe in like the first year or so, like that they reported was over 80% growth year on year. That's pretty good if you do that. But remember, that's kind of them getting started and them really making a hard push with a lot of acquisitions for studios, a lot of promises, and yes, bring in more and more third-party acquisitions. And just overall, see, the entire Yakuza series is just in there. Like, you can just play all of them as soon as you sign up. The biggest thing here, though, is going to be when those big first-party games come out. We'll find out this holiday with Halo and Forza Horizon 5, and then going into next year to end out with Starfield. Those are going to be some of the bigger titles that push these subscription numbers. So it kind of makes sense why they might not be growing as much as they would like currently, because they were probably expecting Halo Infinite to be out by now, but it's not coming out for another, month and a half now. So we'll see as we go into 2022 and make our way towards the end with Starfield and then anything else they have like Redfall, for example, and other third-party acquisitions they make. As Phil Spencer has said, hey, we're not done just yet when it comes to studio acquisitions, as he talked with the Wall Street Journal during an event there. So we'll see if they have anything else to announce as we head into 2022 with Game Pass, but I'm thinking that's going to be the year with Halo and Forza kind of anchoring the holiday for 2021 that we really get things moving here with Game Pass, and I would expect their numbers to reflect that if they ever decide to tell us about them. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the original Xbox. I hope you're sitting down right now because next month will mark 20 years since that system launched. That's right, 20 years since we saw Bill Gates and The Rock in the same place at the same time up on stage. Yeah, it was an odd launch event, but it was a fun time. It really was. The original Xbox coming out, the GameCube, the PS2 was already on the scene, and it was such a good generation then. But it looks like we are going to have a big anniversary event that Microsoft will be holding. We can see this over on news.xbox.com, where they say, we invite you to join us on November 15th to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Xbox and Halo with a fun digital broadcast for fans around the globe. While we won't announce any new games, this anniversary broadcast will be a special look back at 20 years of Xbox. We'll share more details soon, so stay tuned. Now, I'm looking at this as them maybe just having some fun, looking back at the 20 years of Xbox history through the 360, maybe skipping some of the Xbox One and then going up to the Series X, obviously with the big focus being on the original Xbox launch where it all started. Now, they say no new game announcements. I almost wonder if this is a good spot to show off something with Halo Infinite. There's been word that the Halo Infinite campaign will be shown here pretty soon. Some were even saying this week, but it's Wednesday, so maybe they could drop something today or tomorrow as we head into the weekend. Otherwise, though, this is a good spot because remember, Halo came out alongside the original Xbox. So while we celebrate the Xbox with its anniversary, we also celebrate Halo with its anniversary. And this is a really cool time to be like, hey, you know what? No new game announcements, but we do have a new campaign trailer to show you for Halo Infinite as they talk about, of course, the original launch with the Xbox. I at least expect to have a lot of people within Xbox talk about their experiences at the time when it was launching, maybe some hiccups along the road, like with the Xbox One, and then, of course, them getting to where they are now with the Series X and the Series S rolling into Halo Infinite's launch. But let me know what you guys think about this, though. 20 years since the original Xbox launch. That's something to think about. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a little poll that I posted up yesterday where I asked, next month marks 20 years of Xbox. Which Xbox console generation is your favorite? I figured this was going to happen, but we'll go through it. The Xbox 360 was number one with 70%. Xbox Series was number two with 13%. I'm a little surprised on that one. I thought the original Xbox would have won out just from pure nostalgia, but that was 11%. And then go figure, the Xbox One was 5%. But yeah, 70% for the 360. You know what? I gotta agree. Halo 3 on the Xbox 360 was the stuff of legends. Seriously, everybody was playing Halo 3. I know Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out then and people were playing that quite a bit as well. But I don't know, something about looking back on the memories of Halo 3, it's just something special. So yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. The Xbox 360 was my favorite Xbox generation. The original Xbox is there at a close second, but just something about the Xbox 360, a bunch of friends, and Halo 3 all night was just a blast. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Luther saying, I wonder how long until Sega Saturn will officially be brought back in some form on a modern system. It's almost 2022, yet Sega has ignored it all these years. I think the best avenue for Sega right now, if they want to do something with Saturn, is just create that Saturn Mini. They did the Genesis, and you know, that was all right. I think at least the Sega branding next to the Saturn name would be interesting enough for mainstream consumers to give it another look. I just don't know if there's enough Sega Saturn games that they could kind of round up that would be that memorable to the overall mainstream. I mean, sure, you could put Sonic on there and a few things with that, but like, are there that many games on the Saturn that's really going to compel people to run out and buy this? I think a lot of us will buy it because it is a Sega Saturn Mini, and that's a cool idea to have that. It's good to hear that the emulator is at least out there and possible. Sega, I guess, could license and use it, and maybe we could get this little mini Sega Saturn system. I think that'd be pretty cool. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Where's Splinter Cell potentially making a comeback in a couple of years under current day Ubisoft? Let me know your thoughts on that one. Also, what about Dbrand and Sony with these new Darkplates? And then the Xbox turning 20 years old next month. Let me know your fondest memories around picking that system up when it came out. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.